crushed it. Just crushed it. Oh, folks. Oh. That's a monster bass right there, folks. Come on. No. I got barely hooked. Barely hooked. Look at that fish, folks. That's what I'm talking about, son. Little topwater bass. Barely hooked. Look at that fish. Beautiful bass. Topwater bass, folks. Let's let her go. Hey, that might not even be a giant for this lake. We're at Canyon Lake today, folks. This lake has got monster bass in it. You thought Saguaro had monster bass in it? This lake has got some monster bass in it. I don't come to this lake very often. It's a lot of fun to come to a lake like this. But I thought I'd come down here today, see if we might be able to try one of our brand new topwater baits made by Persuader Baits. It's the Poppin Walker. And it's a huge bait. It's a cool bait. It's got the lip on it where it'll actually spit water out in front of it. And then it also has the body that's fat where you can walk it. And you can actually walk this thing, spit it, it'll spray out in front of itself. It's a good sized bait. It's like throwing a Zero spook, but this thing makes a lot of commotion. There's nothing you can really do. You can even pop it or, like I said, walk the bait. So this bait, we had some big giants blow up on it at Apache, and it's that time of year. We're towards the post-spawn, and there's gonna be some bass actually spawning in this lake as well. But, and we might try to find some of those today. But what we're gonna do is go around and see if we can't catch us a couple of giants on this thing first thing in the morning, and then we'll move off to see if we can find maybe some bedfish. But I'm telling you right now, that Poppin Walker, you wanna catch some giant bass, you want those giant fish to actually take notice of your bait, you gotta try this, made by Persuader Baits. It's an awesome bait. I've got the shad color on right now, and look how beautiful that looks. It's got a little blue in it, a little, you know, it really is a beautiful bait. And I'm throwing it on 17-pound test monofilament line. Now let me tell you why I'm using the monofilament line, because monofilament line will float, and with it floating, it helps keep the bait on top of the water to where when you're walking the bait, it's not pulling the bait underwater. So that's the one reason I really like to use this line. I'm using green, I always use green, but it's an awesome line. And then you wanna use, I'm using a medium heavy rod. It's made by Taipan. It's the Elite Series rod. It's a topwater rod. And the reason why I like the little bit medium heavy with a big bulky bait like this is because I want to be able to get the twitches that I need. If I use too soft of a tip, you know, I just don't get the walk that I want off a big bait like this. So I'll go to a little bit heavier rod for that. Plus I got some great backbone for those fish. So we're going to throw this out there and see if we can't get it done. But I'll tell you what, that was a nice fish. Now what these bass will be doing is they'll be back here, and you'll watch every once in a while, you'll see them busting some shad. You know, get out here early in the morning and walk this bait, see if you can't get something aggressive to come up and hit it. But look how nice that bait walks. It's such a beautiful bait, and it's big. And when they're chasing shad, you want a little commotion, this bait will get it done. We'll work this bank on down and see if we can't get bit. You know, we're just right across from the launch pad on the main lake before the wind starts really kicking up, and see if we can't get another giant to blow up on it. Couple of things on working this bait, and you can see what I'm doing is I'm giving the bait short twitches, and then I'm putting slack on the line, and you can see as I'm reeling, as I'm twitching it, I'm just taking up a little bit of line as I'm walking it my way. And those short twitches like that help it walk. So what I'm doing is making the bait walk at this point. You know, I could sit there and stop it and then also make hard twitches, and you'll get it to go back and forth and spit a little bit. But the main thing is to get used to walking a bait. You throw it out there, okay? You point your rod towards the water, just like what I'm doing here, and I'm you can see how I'm taking up my line with my reel. I'm using a 6.4-to-1 ratio reel to take up all that line real quick. And I'm just giving it short twitches with the rod tip. So, you know, those short little twitches like that, that's all it takes. You can stop it, you can, you know, you can work this bait in different ways, but what I'm doing is basically showing you how I walk the bait. So, you know, just by doing that, it's gonna help you a lot. If you take long twitches and you're trying to pop it too much, then it's not gonna work right. It's short twitches of the rod tip. I see so many people work it really, you know, try to really pop it and make a lot of noise with it, when in reality, it's just a quick, of course, now I got it hung up on itself, but when you try to pop it too hard, what happens is this. You get your line wrapped around your hook. So the main thing is even though you can pop it, what I like to do is walk it as much as I can. So I'll make those just short little, probably 6 to 8 inch pulls of the rod tip as you're taking up your line. And let the line go slack up in front of it as it's doing it. That allows the bait to turn back and forth. Oh, did you see that? He came up and blasted that bait. There's 2 of them with him. Oh, there's one bigger. There's one even bigger. Did you see that, folks? He came up and hit the bait, and there was one even bigger in there. He's not a giant by no means, but hey, you know, we're working our way back in this little creek channel, and he blasted it. Let's see if we can't get him again. Get us another fish to blast up on that. You know, when they're schooling up, some of the funnest topwater you can get on this kind of bait, because they're all in competition with one another trying to get to the bait before the other one does. That's what makes this bait so much fun. There was a 4-pounder with him. Bummer I didn't catch that one, huh? Got him that time. By golly. Oh, he's running on me. Get off there. Look at the fish underneath him. Come here. Come here, you ain't that big. I was just playing. Look at that. I always have my weightless rig set up and ready to go. That is only about 1.25 pound fish, but a lot of fun. I've come back into the back of this little creek channel here, and I'm seeing a lot of fish back here in the weeds and alongside the rocks. And I'll tell you what, when, you know, while you're throwing your topwater back here, and you know, we caught one on it, you can see these fish, and when you see them like that, just roaming around, throw something weightless in there. A Cinco works well, a weightless lizard or something like that. And these fish will come off these rocks and get you. The key is, I've noticed here already, these fish are definitely people shy. When they see you, it's hard, it's done, almost done. So, you know, we're seeing a lot of these roamers, but I just had a bluegill come up and take my bait while I was talking to you. Well, I thought they were a little bit people shy, but they're not. I'll tell you what, throwing this just on a medium action, you know, 12-pound test braid with a 10-pound test leader, fluorocarbon leader, little 3/0 hook and just a 4-inch Cinco. I always have something like this tied on because of this situation like this. You just never know when you're fishing and you happen to look down and see something roaming, something, you know, there's other means of sight fishing besides just bed fishing. And I've said this before. What I like to do is anytime I see the fish swimming, like a lot of them are just roaming up and down these banks. But if you see them, don't throw right on top of them. Throw 10 feet way out in front of them. You may not even see the fish go over and get your bait because you had to cast a little bit farther, but you'll notice the change of the pace of the fish, because they'll be kind of roaming like this. You throw it in front of them and then they start really going. They see the bait up in front of them and they go for it. If you throw it right down on them, you'll spook them. And you don't want to spook the fish. But I've got a lot of big fish doing that. And it's a lot of fun. So I'll just always have it rigged up while I'm going down the bank throwing my other baits and stuff. And that way, if I see something, you know, I can pull it out and see if I can catch one of the fish on it. That's only about the 7th or 8th fish I've seen that finally took something, but it takes a little time. I'll go back to my topwater, see if we can get another big blast way up in front of us where the fish aren't spooked, and I'll keep looking. I got the male anyway. He didn't like that at all, man. Look at this fish. We got to get our worm back. Oh, come on. Come on now. Come on. Come on. It's amazing what a little flick shake will do. Look, fell right out. The little flick shake. That is a beautiful little buck bass. You know, I pulled up, and like I said, you always got to be prepared for everything, right? So I pulled up to an area. I got to get my bait back here. Look at this. This is my talking stick, and my favorite color. I really believe that chartreuse is something else, man. Let me tell you, I got to get this back. The big fish is going to come back to that hole, and I want to catch it. All right, folks, there's the bait. It's a little 4-inch talking stick made by Cactus Wren in that chartreuse color. What I did was I wanted to try something a little different, a little flick shake head. And all I'm doing is hooking this thing right in the center, just like so. Doesn't look like much, but when it's on the bed, it's sitting there shaking like this, and boy, those bass can't stand it. Oh, she went after it, she went after it. Got her, I got her. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a monster bass. Oh. Come on, baby. Little Canyon Lake bass. That's what I'm talking about, son. Oh, come on. Come on, I'll let you go. I'll let you go. When nothing else gets it done, baby. An old canyon crawl. Look how beautiful that fish is, folks. Huh? She's gorgeous. We'll let her go. All right. That's what I love about this lake. Oh my goodness. Well, the scenario is, I threw that little chartreuse bait up in there. That talking stick was awesome, but the male had hit it so many times, and then I caught it, that all of a sudden the female turned off of it. And that happens once in a while. It just turns, just turned off. She was ready to hit it, but he was hitting it so much, and then I finally caught him, and that kind of ruined that whole scenario there. But one thing I do know for a fact, when worse comes to worse, you pull out the old big rig. And I'll tell you what, that little canyon crawl there with no pinchers on it works pretty good. It had pinchers on it, but it's gone. Hey folks, for my tip of the week, one thing that's really important is you can throw a lot of different lines with these kinds of baits, but I highly suggest a monofilament. And the reason why is because I like it being a little bit stiffer, okay, out front of the bait when the bait's working, so the line doesn't get caught up in the hooks all the time, to where versus braid is so limp that you'll actually sometimes get the braid hooked up in the hooks because it's so limp, it gets behind the bait when the bait's actually working back and forth. The other thing I don't like about the braid versus the monofilament is monofilament has stretch to it. There's got to be some kind of give with little treble hooks like this. So the monofilament, when you catch the fish, will allow enough stretch in it to help keep from pulling those hooks out of the fish versus braid. Braid, there's no stretch. So if you're using a medium heavy rod and you're using braid, it's very likely that you could pull a little bit too hard and pull these treble hooks right out of the fish. So that's the main reasons I like using the monofilament line. And when you get out there and throw a topwater like this, grab some monofilament. That's my tip of the week. You know, I get a lot of emails and a lot of folks asking me all the time, hey, how do you learn to be versatile and throw these different baits when you have no confidence in them? And I'll tell you what I did as a kid to get me better at certain baits and certain techniques, basically, is I would empty out my boat on my local home waters, except for the bait I had no confidence in, or the technique. Say it's a jig, for example. If you want to get out and learn how to jig fish, get a bunch of different colored jigs, get a bunch of different sizes, put them in your boat, go out there with the right equipment and become one with it, basically. Learn how to get confidence, get some bites on it. If you have nothing else to go to in your tackle box, then you have to find a way to catch fish on them, whether you're swimming them, whether you're, letting them fall. And the same goes with crankbaits. Take a bunch of different crankbaits out and get some confidence in those. And that's basically how I learned. And that will help you a ton when you try to learn different techniques. That's the male. Well, I missed the female, but I got the male. Oh my goodness, and it's still a good fish. Look at the size of that fish. Still a good fish. Beautiful Canyon Lake bass. Right there. All right, buddy. Man, I'm telling you, this is something else. I love this lake. I wished I'd have been here a little bit earlier in the season, man. I bet I could have caught some giants. Next year, I'm gonna definitely come catch some of them big fish. They're here, that's for sure. Got him that time. That's what I'm talking about, son. That was a fun fish. That was a fun fish. Yeah, look at that. He's not a giant, but a fun fish. Look how fat these fish are. They look like little footballs. I'm gonna tell you something about Canyon Lake. This lake, I've seen giants swimming around in this lake today. Most of the fish are pretty much done, but you can still come have a lot of fun, and they're gonna start schooling up and you're gonna be able to start catching some of those big ones. I'm gonna come back, we're gonna catch some big ones. But I had a blast on the show today. You saw the different baits that we were throwing today. Between that Topwater, made by Persuader baits, and I'll tell you what, it is called a Poppin Walker. Man, when they start schooling up and start hitting Topwater, you'll want to throw this little guy right here. This will be awesome. It's a great bait. Definitely check it out. And don't forget Cactus Friend Canyon Crawl for them sight fish. And of course, you saw us do a little flick shake, something a little bit different, finesse the bed a little bit, finesse the fish. Believe it or not, you can take the talking stick, the bigger one, the 5-inch, and still put it on a little flick shake and do really well on it in a crawdad pattern or even a scorpion color or something like that. So you'll have a lot of fun with it. I'll tell you what, it's starting to cloud up. It's a beautiful day, but I've had a good time on the show. Hey, we'll catch you next week. I'm Johnny Johnson.